Good afternoon again, YTPC. I'm Sunny. This is the Shire Shed. Welcome back to yet another tobacco review. Today, we're going to be reviewing a relatively new blend. Relatively new. I think this came out a few months ago. As you can tell from the thumbnail, this is what we're having today. Sutliff Crumble Kake Rustica Barrel Aged Series number 5. So far, really good. Before we get into it, though, for those of you that have been kind of watching, I think this is video number 4 in a row this week, 3 or 4. For those of you that have been watching every single one, thank you. For those of you that are getting sick of seeing my face every single day come across your feed, get over it. Although if you're watching this, none of that I just said made sense. But I don't care. Want to know why? Because I got a bowl of Rustica. First off, you guys know my gripe with Sutliff stuff. The tobacco that they have is quite good. My gripe is that it almost always wants to fight me to stay lit. And I prepare my tobacco the same way. And Sutliff is the only one that does this to me. I don't know why. That said, I don't mind so much wrestling with this one. Oh yeah, buddy. That's the stuff. So let's get into it a little bit, yeah? This is one that I kind of slept on. Couldn't tell you why. Other than maybe I thought that it couldn't get much better than HH Rustica, which, as you know, is one of my favorites. I think HH Rustica has a little bit more depth, and what I mean by depth is it's just richer. The flavors are more rich. The flavors are more nuanced, and they're more, when they do poke out, they poke out pretty prominently. So before I give you my thoughts, I'll read the review on Tobacco Reviews. So if you're on Tobacco Reviews right now, or you'd like to go to Tobacco Reviews and read along with me, we can pretend we're in preschool or kindergarten or first grade or whenever you started to read. And we can read together. Like on Mr. Rogers or something. I don't know. Did he do that? I don't know if he did that. While everybody's getting caught up, do me a favor. Tell me what you're smoking it in. Love to hear what you're having today on this beautiful Saturday. Beautiful is, of course, subjective, because right now we've got gale force winds blowing around outside. And yeah, the wind blows, man. Sonny the Piper's channel. Come for the tobacco reviews, stay for the dad jokes. Giggity. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's getting pretty real out there. But it's not going to get any better till like tomorrow morning, so I am not going to stop recording because I'm here for you. All right, Sutliff Tobacco Company. Sutliff Crumble Kake Rustica number 5 Barrel Aged. In the early 17th century, oh snap, getting a little history lesson. John Rolfe procured seeds from Trinidad, cultivating a milder tobacco than the harsh Nicotiana rustica, then being grown in the colonies. Thus set in motion Nicotiana tobaccum's dominance in most all tobacco consumption to this day. However, equipped with a modern knowledge of tobacco processing, the hardy Rustica has found a place in the blender's arsenal, and now it finds a home in our barrel aged series with Crumble Cake number 5. Sun cured to retain the leaf's natural sugar, Rustica is joined by zesty Virginias and nutty Burleys before being aged in a bourbon barrel. Finally, it is pressed into a crumble cake, mellowing and melding the bold mixture. With full body and flavor, Sutliff Crumble Cake number 5 delivers a rich, smoking experience. Doesn't that just make your mouth water? Probably helps that I'm actually smoking the thing right now, but you get it. Okay, so officially, apparently, this blend is categorized as an aromatic. I vehemently disagree. Maybe a slight topping or casing because of the bourbon barrel and all that stuff, but if you're not an aromatic smoker, don't let that deter you. This is not your traditional goopy, sticky, oily, greasy, nasty aromatic. This is a full flavor tobacco for sure. Contents are burley and Virginia. Flavoring is bourbon. It does come in a crumble cake, and if you've ever seen Sutliff's crumble cakes, they are very dissimilar to how like Cornell and Diehl does a crumble cake. Cornell and Diehl, their crumble cakes are pressed together already. And with Sutliff's, when they do crumble cakes, they slice it after they make the cake and press it together. They slice it. So when you get their crumble cakes, don't expect like a Cornell and Diehl crumble cake where you get the actual square and break it off as you go. This is more like a crumble cake flake, if that makes any sense. I'll include a picture of what theirs looks like if you don't know. If you do know, then you're going to know exactly what's going to go up on the screen. Moving on. Strength is medium to strong. Flavoring, none detected. Mild to medium. Taste is full, and the room note is tolerable. Once again, I highly doubt that the room note is tolerable, especially to someone who doesn't like the smell of tobacco. Need to wet my whistle real quick. For those of you wondering, I'm having this in my 2023 Peterson St. Patrick's Day 608. And what I'm drinking is Gatorade Lime Cucumber. I love that Gatorade. It's my favorite. So, I normally don't read all of Jim Ink's reviews because they all kind of tend to follow the same trend, the same kind of every adjective under the sun. No offense to him, he's a great writer, but it does kind of have the same trope, the same pattern. However, in this case, for whatever reason, I decided to read one of his synopses, and I got to the next to last sentence, and it says, "Not an all-day smoke, but it is more repeatable than regular H.H. Rustica." I could see certainly why that would be the inclination of thought. It does seem to be a little bit more forgiving in the level of nicotine realm. It doesn't seem to be as in your face, because you can almost taste the nicotine itself in H.H. Rustica. One of the reasons I love it. This one, it's not as pronounced. take with that and do with it what you will. If you can get a hold of this one, I would recommend doing it, especially if you have the patience to deal with Sutliff wrestling your lighter the entire time, if that happens to you in the first place. This, as I said, is worth it to me just because of the different flavors that are going on. There's a melange of almost like a dance of different flavors. And I'll explain that to you right now. The very first thing I get is that quintessential tang from Sutliff. And if you've never had any of their Virginias, it's this vinegar, very slight vinegar kind of tang sweetness going on, which I like. Immediately following that is the sweetness from the bourbon barrel. That sweetness kind of hangs on, and then the Rustica boldness kind of comes barreling through, and instead of pushing it out of the way, it kind of grabs the bourbon sweetness by the collar and says, "Come on, you're coming with me." So you get this nice peppery sweetness from the bourbon, and then you get that absolute rush of a big ass bull just charging through and carries the bourbon on its back. And then to finish it off, you get a little bit more of the Virginia sweetness, kind of easing you out of it. It's nice. It's really nice. Retrohale is nice and stings the nostrils. Almost on the verge of making your eyes water. It's very present. I really, truly enjoy this one. I wasn't quite sure about it at first. I think I had it a couple days after it sat in the jar. And then I gave it a week. And it got better. And then I think it's been 4 or 5 days since that to now. There are different schools of thought on this, but this review is going to be kind of between a review and a first impression. The reason for that is those different schools of thought are either your first impression is when you first crack that tin and have a bowl immediately following that, or what I believe is a more accurate representation is you get that tobacco out of the tin into a jar and let it settle for a week at least. Then and only then, in my opinion, do I believe that tobacco will actually show you what it actually is, instead of it's been in a tin hermetically sealed. So, once again, do with that what you will, but that's how I view it. So when you listen and watch my first impressions videos, know that I don't always, number one, it's not always the first time I'm having it. Sometimes it is. But if it is, it's after it's been sitting in a jar for 1 or 2 weeks. I really enjoy this. Once again, one of my best homies in the world, Thaddeus Starbuckle, convinced me to get this one. I wasn't gonna, because as I said, H.H. Rustica, that was the bee's knees, and it still kind of is. If I'm honest here, this one isn't one I'll pick up as often as the H.H. Rustica, but that's not to say that it's not equally as delicious, because it is, just in very different ways. If you've had both of them, you probably know what I'm saying. If you haven't, try to get a sample of one of each, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So with that, guys, that concludes yet another review. Oh, snap. Got one more review coming up for you this week. And I think you're going to be happy about it. Coming tomorrow. Oh, yeah. It's coming. You betcha. Well, that wraps it up. I want to thank every single one of you for watching. If this is your first time watching, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for being here. It's been awesome. The wind finally stopped blowing, and as soon as I have now said that, it's going to start again. But whatever. We're alive, we're breathing. Sun's kind of shining, sorta. It's trying to come out from behind. Oh, there it goes. There it is. Sun's shining, baby. Y'all have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, but if you do, don't get caught. I'll see you next time. Later.